What happened when a late-night host pushed Melania Trump too far? The answer shocked everyone. The camera swept over an excited live audience in Los Angeles. The stage was bathed in bright lights, charged with the vibrant atmosphere of a hit late-night talk show. At-home viewers anticipated the usual mix of wit and sharp political satire. The host, Alex Brooks, a well-known progressive commentator known for his tough interviews, was seated with an assured look, his charming smirk highlighted by the studio lights. Tonight's episode was meant to be routine until it took a surprising turn. And now, Alex started, his voice laced with playful intrigue. We've got a very special guest, someone you wouldn't expect to grace our stage. The crowd whispered, a wave of curiosity passing through the room. Then, with perfect timing for dramatic effect, Melania Trump, former First Lady, stepped into view in a chic, ivory outfit, radiating poise and strength. The audience gasped, taken aback by the unexpected guest. Some clapped with hesitation, others shared confused looks. Alex seemed briefly caught off guard, but he quickly recovered with his trademark grin. Melania walked towards the host's chair with serene confidence. "Thank you for having me," she said, her voice clear with her soft accent. The audience's response was a blend of intrigue and doubt, setting the stage for a night that would be long remembered. The atmosphere was charged, yet no one, not even Alex, could foresee the drama that would unfold. But the real tension started when the talk turned personal. The interview kicked off with Alex's usual charm. He leaned back, his legs crossed, and gave Melania a courteous smile. "Melania, it's been quite the journey for you since leaving the White House. How's life now?" Melania looked at him directly, unfazed. "Life is tranquil," she answered with steady confidence. "I focus on my family, my projects, and my work to support young people." Alex nodded, a glint of mischief in his eyes. He wasn't here for an easy chat, and everyone in the audience knew it. Still, Melania's calm presence seemed to throw him off, at least momentarily. The crowd was all ears as she spoke of her post-White House endeavors, from aiding youth in underserved communities to championing mental health awareness. "Fascinating," Alex interjected after a moment of thought. "But let's be candid. You've faced criticism for not speaking out on divisive issues during your time as First Lady. What's your take on that?" The room was silent, all waiting to see how she'd respond to this direct challenge. Melania, however, stayed composed, her hands calm in her lap. "I believe deeds speak louder than words," she said simply. "Talking is easy, but making a real impact is tough. I concentrate on what I can achieve, not what others expect me to say." There was a palpable shift in the room's vibe. Alex leaned in, his face sharpening with intent. It was clear he was about to push the conversation further, but the air grew thick when he brought up the topic no one thought she'd tackle. Alex's grin widened as he tapped his pen on the armrest. "Deeds over words, an interesting approach. But don't some situations call for words, especially when the stakes are so high?" His voice carried a probing edge, as if he was testing the waters before diving in. Melania tilted her head slightly, her face unreadable. "I think everyone has their part to play. Mine was to support my husband and our country in my unique way." Alex raised an eyebrow. "And supporting him meant silence, even when his actions or statements might have caused division." A ripple of shock passed through the audience. The question was bold, almost confrontational. Alex leaned back, arms crossed, seemingly anticipating a counterattack. The room was thick with anticipation, the tension palpable. But Melania didn't waver. She let the silence linger, her gaze steady. "Division isn't new," she said at last, her voice calm. "Pointing fingers at one individual is easy, but it doesn't solve anything. I choose to work towards unity, not blame," the audience murmured in response. Alex appeared momentarily taken aback, but quickly regained his composure. "Good point," he conceded. "But on the topic of unity, there are whispers, controversies, things the public's eager to hear directly from you. For instance, your marriage." The audience let out a collective gasp. The air grew heavy as the conversation veered into very personal territory. Melania's expression remained unchanged, but there was a spark in her eyes suggesting readiness for this challenge. But what followed was something no one anticipated. Alex leaned closer, his voice lowering to add intimacy to the charged atmosphere. Let's address what everyone's thinking, Melania. Many have questioned your choices, your silence during some of the most turbulent times in recent memory, and your relationship with the former president. Are you here to clear the air? Everyone in the audience was on the edge of their seats, some murmuring among themselves. This was the moment they'd been waiting for, a confrontation promising fireworks. Alex's smirk grew, sensing he might have cornered his guest. However, Melania didn't fall into the trap. Instead, she adjusted her posture, her face calm yet authoritative. "I'm here to speak for myself," she declared firmly, her accent adding a sharp edge to her words. "Not for rumors, not for tales spun by those who don't know me." Alex tried to interject, but Melania continued, her voice gaining strength. "Everyone has opinions," she went on, her tone deliberate. "But opinions aren't facts. I know who I am, and I stand for what I believe in. The rest is just noise." The crowd fell silent, absorbing her words. Even Alex, known for his quick retorts, seemed momentarily speechless. His smirk faded, replaced by an expression of genuine surprise. Melania's gaze swept over the audience. "It's easy to judge someone from afar," she added. "Harder to reflect on why you feel the need to judge." Applause erupted, with some standing in ovation. Alex, still recovering, tried to steer the conversation. "Well," he stuttered, "that's, quite a viewpoint. But surely you see why people might feel—" Melania interrupted with a small, polite smile. "I understand more than you might think," she said. The applause intensified, but Alex wasn't finished, and his next query escalated the tension. He leaned forward, setting his pen aside, his voice now more incisive, challenging Melania to stumble. "You know, Melania, there's something everyone's curious about. How do you align your advocacy for unity and compassion with some of the more, let's say, divisive remarks your husband made? Statements that many argue split the nation?" The room fell into a tense silence, all eyes flicking between Alex and Melania. This was a question meant to push someone into a corner, to provoke a defensive reaction. The audience braced for either deflection or explosion. But Melania, ever composed, didn't miss a beat. She placed her hands gently on her lap, her expression serene yet firm. "People see what they choose to see," she started. "My work has always centered on helping the youth, promoting kindness, and demonstrating respect. I can't control others' words or deeds, but I can control my actions, and I choose compassion." Alex raised an eyebrow, seemingly unimpressed by what he saw as an evasive answer. "But surely," he pushed, "there were times you could have stepped up, taken a stand." Melania's eyes narrowed slightly, her voice cutting through his interruption. "Taking a stand isn't always about being the loudest," she said. "Sometimes it's about staying true to your principles, even when it's unpopular." The audience broke into applause, some even cheering. Alex, momentarily stunned, seemed unsure how to proceed, but his pause was brief. He leaned back, giving a small laugh to regain his footing. "Fair enough," he said, "but we can't overlook that silence might be interpreted as complicity." Melania tilted her head, her face cool but with a sharper edge. "And words without action can be seen as hypocrisy," she countered with calm resolve. The room erupted, the energy electrified as the crowd reacted with a mix of shock and admiration. Alex's confidence visibly wavered. This wasn't going as he'd planned, but the moment that truly hushed the room was yet to come. Alex adjusted his tie, clearly looking for a way to steer the conversation back. The tension was thick, each word felt weighted. Finally, he leaned forward, asking the question no one expected him to dare. "Melania," he began, his tone measured, "do you ever regret marrying Donald Trump?" A gasp spread through the audience. Even the crew behind the cameras paused. This question was not just bold, it was deeply personal. All eyes were on Melania, waiting for her response. She sat still for a moment, her expression unreadable. The silence stretched, making everyone, including Alex, uncomfortable. Then she spoke, her voice calm but cutting. "Regret is for those who shirk responsibility for their choices," she said. "I knew who I married. I knew the life I chose. And I stand by it, not because it's easy, but because it's mine." The audience burst into applause, louder and more unified than before. Some stood, clapping in admiration. Alex blinked, his composure visibly shaken for the first time that night. He opened his mouth to speak, but Melania wasn't done. We live in a time where it's easy to criticize from the sidelines, she continued, her voice unwavering. But you can't understand someone's life unless you've lived it. And I owe no one an explanation for my choices. The applause was overwhelming, the crowd clearly on her side. Alex leaned back, humbled, his earlier bravado gone. But what happened off camera was even more surprising. As the show cut to a break, the studio buzzed with chatter, a mix of awe and disbelief. Melania hadn't just held her own, she had turned the narrative on its head. The show's producers scrambled, some jotting down notes, others discussing the segment's potential to go viral. Back on stage, Alex leaned to Melania, his confidence now subdued. "I'll admit," he said with a half smile, "I didn't expect you to handle that so well." Melania looked at him with a polite smile, her voice measured. "I don't play games, Alex. I speak the truth, and that's enough." His comment lingered in the air. Alex, taken aback by her sincerity, seemed almost apologetic. "Fair enough," he muttered, giving a nod of respect. Behind the scenes, staff and guests whispered as Melania walked by, her presence commanding. Some praised her poise. Others were simply amazed by her ability to control the conversation without raising her voice. She thanked them, but didn't stay long. As she left the building, reporters and photographers had gathered outside. Questions flew from all sides. "Melania, did Alex go too far? Were you ready for this? Anything more to say?" She paused, facing the cameras. "I said what needed saying," she stated simply. "Nothing more." Then, without another word, she got into her car, leaving the crowd buzzing. By morning, her words had ignited a national conversation that couldn't be ignored. By sunrise, video clips from the interview had spread across social media. Hashtags like Just Melania Speaks and Melania vs. Alex were trending. Both sides of the political divide weighed in, analyzing every nuance. News channels replayed the moment, with commentators debating if Alex had overstepped or if Melania's responses were a lesson in grace under fire. Some praised her composure, others argued she dodged accountability. Nonetheless, one thing was clear. She had captured the public's attention. The debate wasn't just on TV, it was in cafes, offices, and homes, questioning the ethics of interviewing and personal scrutiny. Could a host seek truth without crossing lines? Was it right to delve into someone's private life? In the midst of the storm, Melania made no further comments, letting her interview words stand. This silence only heightened public interest. Her restraint spoke volumes, proving sometimes the most powerful statement is one of silence. In the following weeks, Alex addressed the interview on his show, admitting he might have underestimated Melania. "I'll say this," he told his viewers, "whether you agree with her or not, Melania Trump knows how to command attention." For many, the lesson from this was not just about Melania or Alex, but about facing adversity with dignity. In an era of rapid-fire debates and viral clips, her poise was a rare beacon of calm. As the headlines diminished, one truth remained. Moments like these highlight the strength of measured words, self-awareness, and standing firm in one's convictions. If you've read this far, thank you for sticking with it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that provoke thought. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind.